Changing oil on a 2015 Buick Encore seems simple, but there's one mistake most people make that can ruin this engine. Kevin here with Kevin's Way Works. So in this video, I'll walk you through every step, the right oil, the right tools, and how to avoid that costly mistake so your Encore runs like it should. Let's get started. All right guys, I have the Encore up on the Rhino ramps. You don't need them, but I like to use them because it gives you more room underneath. If you don't have them, that's perfectly fine. You can still do this without them. Now right here is the oil pan. As you can see, mine has a leak somewhere. Not really sure where the leak is. Someday I'll find it and we'll get it fixed. And we'll make a nice little video about it. But for now, we're just gonna drain the oil. So right here is the drain plug. Go ahead and grab yourself a little bucket like this. This is I think this is like a 7 or 8 quart pan. Probably was like $1.50 when I bought it several years ago. Get these from Walmart, auto parts stores, online stores, wherever you want. Go ahead and set it right down in the middle like that. Kind of get your plug right here lined up with the center. Grab yourself a 10mm socket. So I'm going to use just the 1/4 inch drive because my torque wrench is 1/4 inch and this one is torqued to inch pounds. If you want to do foot pounds, it's 10.3 foot pounds. If you're going to do inch pounds, it's 124 inch pounds. All right, guys, I have my ratchet with a 10mm socket. Let's go ahead, get this guy opened up. I like to try to do it without getting my hands dirty, but it never happens. Let's see if we can do it. Oh, darn, we got dirty. See how it's gurgling like that? The way to fix that is to go up and pull the dipstick. So I'm gonna go up there, I'm gonna pull the dipstick out. There it is. She's dirty. This oil has, I don't know, 6,500 miles on it or so. And if you look up here too, you can see that the gasket's stuck right there. Normally it comes off. You're supposed to replace it every time. I have never replaced a gasket and I've never had a leak or any other issues, but it's always recommended to replace the gasket, and that just fell in there. So we're gonna have to fish it out. Keep a rag nearby because you're gonna be constantly wiping your hands of oil. And we did get a few drops over here. That's no big deal. We'll hit those up with some brake parts cleaner later and we'll get that all taken care of. I'm gonna let that drain for a while. Eventually it will slow to a drip and then it will stop. And at that point, you can go ahead, spin that plug back in. All right guys, she has slowed to a drip, but we have a problem. Like I said, the seal fell off into the oil. I've never had this happen before in all my years of changing oil. So Kevin is about to get messy. All right, let me see if I can get my hand in here. All right, guys, if you're in the situation I am, you're gonna wanna have a good rag for absorbing oil because I'm about to get my hand all covered in oil. Make sure you have gloves on, unless you really like to have used oil on your hands. And let's go fishing. All right, here we go. No telling where it went. Oh, did I feel it? Nope. Oh no, guys, I am not feeling it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yummy. Now here's the problem. The way I'm turned, I can't reach the towel. I can't reach the towel. Okay. All right, there we go. I'm gonna get cleaned up off camera and we'll get this drain plug put back in. Guys, you don't want used motor oil on your hands. They actually say it's carcinogenic. And there's no reason to have carcinogenic stuff touch your skin. You'd probably have to bathe in it every day for 50 years before it does anything, but still, you never know. I'm gonna have to brake parts clean my gloves. You gotta be careful with brake parts cleaner. The chemicals in it can get absorbed straight into your skin. And if I remember correctly, they get deposited in your fat and they are also carcinogenic. So, you gotta be careful. All right, guys, let's get this O-ring back into our drain plug. So there's the drain plug. There's the groove for the O-ring. I'm gonna set it on here and just stick it in that groove. If you want to, you can go get a replacement O-ring to put in there. Like I said, I've never done it. I've never had one leak, but they say to do it every oil change. So there it is. Let's go ahead, pop that back in, and we'll get it torqued to spec. Alrighty guys, here we go. Try to time it in between drips. Oops, don't cross thread it. Alrighty, she's on there. Let me go ahead, wipe the last little bit of oil off. Got to get my 10mm socket on my torque wrench. So 124 inch-pounds. I'm using a 1/4 inch drive because that's the only one I have that does inch-pounds. If you want to do foot-pounds, it's 10.3 foot-pounds. Typically, you can't really do, in between, settings. So you can do 10. You can try to get it kind of in between and tighten it down, but there's no notch there. Guys, 11 would probably be fine too. It's not too much to where it's going to damage the threads. So I'm going to use 124 because I do have a torque wrench. That'll do that. Here we go. Stop when it clicks. It doesn't seem like much, guys, right? You're kind of want to go tighter. You don't have to. It's 124 inch-pounds for a reason. You go super tight, especially with power tools, you are going to strip out that aluminum. And then you're going to have to replace the entire pan, or you could actually put a insert in there. They have inserts. TimeCert is a good brand. I've done TimeCert inserts in oil pans after those quick lube places just totally destroyed the oil pan. Alrighty guys, we're almost done underneath here. The next step, clean up your mess. I don't have a lot of oil here. I'm just going to put a little spritz of brake parts cleaner up there. I'm going to take a rag and I'm just going to clean it off. And there you go, guys. We are done underneath. There's nothing else to do under here. The oil filter is actually up top. So let's go ahead. Let's get up top. We'll get that oil filter removed and a new one put in. So I'm going to leave this oil pan under here for now. That way you don't bump into it. You don't have to take care of dumping it right now. You can do that later. So this keeps it out of the way of your feet. You don't trip in it. You don't step in it. Just a friendly tip from Kevin. Guys, another tip from Kevin. Don't leave your creeper sitting in the sun. Move it over to the shade. Because if you leave that in the sun, you go get some tools, you go inside, you take a break, get a snack, you come out, you lay on it, you're going to burn your back and your arms. Always move it into the shade. Just another tip from Kevin. You guys interested in a third tip from Kevin today? Yeah, you are. Third tip from Kevin. When you're on the ground working, ants are going to come bite you. So what I do, if I remember it, I take some Ortho Home Defense and I spray it around the work area. And then that way the ants won't cross it and they won't come up and bite you on the back of the arms. All right, guys, let's get this oil filter changed. And the oil filter is located right over here. This big guy right here is the oil filter housing. And inside of there is just a paper oil filter. There is no casing on it. The casing is that device right there. All right, so now let's get to that important information that I mentioned that could cause you to destroy your engine. For some reason, GM decided they were going to do two different type of filter housings for the Buick Encore. And in this case, we have one made by Hengst, H-E-N-G-S-T. It is written right on the cap right here, and it's also on the side of the housing right there. So make sure when you get your filter, you're getting the one that goes for your car. So the Hengst one, my understanding is it is the one that's black colored, and if you have the other style, which is manufactured by UFI, you will have a UFI marking there and also down here on the housing. And my understanding is that one has a brown colored cap. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you get the correct filter because they are not compatible with each other. If you put the wrong filter in, you have the potential for it to not filter the oil. So you're just gonna be basically running the oil through the engine unfiltered. And you don't want to do that. So make sure you get the one that matches your housing. All right, guys, let's get this opened up. Let's get that old filter out, and let's get that new filter put in. All right, guys, what's your guess on the size of that? Man, I'm gonna say that's a big boy. 24 millimeters. Let's try 24 millimeters first. Holy cow, we got it. First try, guys, 24 millimeters. Right there, 24 millimeters. She's a little dirty. No, it's more scratched up than dirty, but she is a little dirty. So 24 millimeters. Make sure you use a 6-wall because you can strip that cap. It's just plastic. So the first thing I recommend doing is grabbing yourself a rag and stuffing it down and under here like this, because you are going to drip some oil when you do this. It won't be a lot, but you will drip some. So stuff yourself a rag down there like that. So I like to put a long extension on this because then it extends up into the engine bay and it's easier to get it off. So get that on there like that. And she's a little tight sometimes. There's a big O-ring and that puts a bunch of pressure on that cap and it makes it hard to turn it. And it's especially hard to get out if somebody went all Gorilla on it and over tightened it. All right, guys, so that is unscrewed. I'm gonna back it out. I'm gonna try to pull it up and out of there without getting oil all over my hoses. Now, you can also just take your rag, kind of put it up like that. You can also take this charge air hose off if you want and pull it out of the way. It does give you a little more room, but you can do it without taking that out. All right, guys, I don't know if you can see this because I don't really have any way to put my hands in the sun, and the shade are kind of darkening the picture, but that's how it comes out, just like so. And you can push this charge air hose over too. So there's your filter. All right, guys, I'm gonna pull this up and out. We'll go ahead and set up over here in the shade and I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, guys, there it is. So like I said, Hengst, Hengst, GM, and it has the torque spec written on it, 25 Newton meters. I do not know what that is in inch pounds. This must be a GM filter. It says Hengst on the actual filter itself as well. Let's go ahead and pull this out. I'll show you what it looks like. All right, there it is. So you can see it snaps in with these 4 tabs, and then there's the inside of the cap. So make sure you got the right filter, or else you could damage your engine, especially if you use it long term with the wrong filter. So let's go ahead, get this guy cleaned up. We'll get the new one out and I'll show you what it looks like. Guys, before I show you the new filter, now's a good time to just take this old filter and look in between it and see what you got in there. There's a little chunk of something right there, but I don't see anything sparkly. Any sparkles you're seeing right now is just the sun shining off the oil. So this looks good. This engine does not appear to have any damage that we can see in the filter itself. All right, here is our new filter. And here are the part numbers, 555-94651 and PF2257G. This is a genuine ACDelco oil filter. Let's go ahead and open it up. This O-ring is for the cap. I'll go ahead and show you how we put that on. And just inspect it, make sure it looks like the old one with the 4 tabs on top. This is a Hengst oil filter. There it is right there. And then, don't know what that number is. That might be just a different GM number. So anyway, that's what it looks like, guys. Make sure you use the right one. Take your cap, clean it up, make sure there's no junk and debris in there. Doesn't look too bad. Now we have to get this ring off. I pinch it from the side like that, and then I just grab it with my fingers. It's hard to grab with glove on, but I grab it with my fingers and I just pull it off, throw that one away. Take your new ring. See that groove right there? This has a blue groove in it now because one of the O-rings was blue coated. So go ahead, just pop that guy in that groove, just like that. Make sure you don't have it in the wrong place. If you have it all the way up on the top here, it's wrong. If you have it down on the threads, it's wrong. It has to be in that groove, just like that. All right, take your new filter, take your cap, stick it in there, pop it in. You know it's in because it's nice and tight and it's not going to go anywhere. All right, guys, get yourself a dab of some used oil on your finger. Just take it, rub it on that O-ring. And this just aids in installation, makes it easier to go in. It won't bind up. You won't take a big chunk out of it. It won't pop out of place. So there you go. So I believe the difference between the Hengst and the UFI is the Hengst has the bypass valve built into the housing right here. The other one is built in the oil filter. So here's what happens if you use the wrong filter. So let's say you put the UFI filter in a Hengst housing. Basically what's going to happen is the filter's not going to lock in place, and then oil can flow around it, basically bypassing the filter itself. So you're not getting any filtering if you do that. Now, basically the same thing with the UFI housing. The filter won't seal properly at the base, and you're going to leave oil circulating around the engine unfiltered. So the key difference between the Hengst and the UFI is the Hengst, the bypass is built into the housing itself, and the UFI, it's built in to the filter. So let's go ahead, get this guy down in here. I said push the hose out of the way if you need to. And that guy should drop right in. Now you're going to just want to gently turn this until it catches. And right now it's about to hit that O-ring. And I am not going to be able to turn that any further by hand. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, pop this guy on, and this one is torqued to 18 foot-pounds. It's going to be hard to see because the sun glaring on it, but that's 18 foot-pounds. I took the extension off because the extension was hitting the cables over here and making it hard for me to turn. So I'm going to do it without the extension on there. Now just watch it. I mean, I know you can't see the other side. You just want to make sure that that O-ring is going in. If it's not, it'll probably bulge around the edges. There's not a lot of room to move here, so I'm just gently turning it. Be careful of this hose that's up here. They get brittle, at least the connectors get brittle, the little nipples. Then you can bust them off. I do have videos on that as well. All right, guys, see how, don't go crazy. See how it stopped and I stopped? Once you hit that 18 foot-pounds, do not go anymore. You're done. All right, guys, so I normally do Mobile 1, but for some reason, the last 3 times I went to buy it, they had no 5W30 on the shelves. So, once again, I went with Pennzoil Platinum, fully synthetic, 5W30. And this one's DexOS approved, which means it has gone through vigorous testing to show that it does conform to GM's specifications. So if your car calls for DexOS, make sure that's what you use. So there are high mileage versions of these. They don't meet the specifications, so they don't have the label, but in most cases, they're still going to be just as good as, if not better than, the ones that do have that label. Now, if it's under warranty, you're probably going to want to go with that. All right, guys, so the 1.4 liter Buick Encore wants 4.2 quarts, and that includes with the filter. So we're going to fill this up to 4.2. We're going to go, actually, we're going to go right at the 4 liter mark because that's right about 4.2 quarts. All right, let's go ahead, get this poured on in. Tell me when to stop. I missed a little bit. I missed and it poured down the edge. How's that look? I think that's good. That is close enough. Or as I like to say, that is sufficient. All right, let's put the cap back on it. It never fails, guys. I don't know how that happens. Tore my glove up. Oh no. All right, let's get this in the engine. All right, let's go ahead and remove the cap. Set her aside. I'm gonna take a funnel because it's real hard to get that filler in there without spilling it everywhere. And I don't like making messes. Okay, we have our oil. Pop your filler end off. Also pop this little guy off. And I like to put my finger over it to begin with, just in case I goof up and I let oil come shooting out. There she goes. Uh-oh, we're dripping. I usually take that cap off entirely so it doesn't drip like it did. So right now I've got oil all over the engine. Woo! Yeah, I know. That's not that cool. I don't have enough brake parts cleaner to clean the engine off if I get it everywhere. All right, guys. I'm gonna call that sufficient. That is done. Now we clean up our mess. You guys, I made a mess. Kevin made a mess. Look at that mess, guys. Now, don't leave that there. Clean it up. Always clean up your mess. I'm gonna clean up the bulk of it first. If you want to, you can flush it with brake parts cleaner. You gotta be careful, it can actually damage some plastics. I just like to spray it on the towel because that way it doesn't evaporate as quickly. And it kind of makes for a better cleaning job, like so. Just like that, guys. That is good and clean. Oh, we got a little bit down in here, hold on. Go ahead and put your cap back on. It can only go on one way, so just turn it until it falls in. Give it a good tightening, just like so. Now's a good time to inspect your O-rings on your dipstick. I actually had a broken one on the last car I did. So these two look pretty good. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna check our fill, make sure we got it where it's supposed to be. Push it in all the way, pull it out, kind of rotate it and check it, and this one is right halfway, I can't tell. No, it's all the way above that last mark right there, the little hash mark. So it's hard to tell, especially on the older dipsticks when they've gotten stained. So let's do it again and see what we got. Yeah, so like I said, it's hard to tell, but it looks to me like we're all the way up to the top edge of that hash mark right there. So we are good to go. That's it, guys. It is as simple as that. Nothing to be scared of. All right, now she won't smoke. And one more thing, guys. Don't forget your oil. Make sure you take that and pour it into a proper container and drop it off anywhere that recycles used oil. All right, guys. We are in the Encore. We have 113,978 miles. Let's go ahead and reset the oil life cycle monitor. So my daughter likes to keep it on the speed screen so she has a digital readout of her speed. So what you're gonna do over here is click on the menu button right here. Make sure it says Vehicle Information Menu. And then you're gonna go ahead and there's this little dial right here. You're gonna either turn it up or down until you see the oil life cycle monitor show up on the screen. So let's go ahead, see if I can get both in there. There it is, remaining oil life, 17%. All right, guys, so now what we're gonna do is over on the end of that same stick, there's a button right here, and it actually says set/clear on the side. So make sure that you're on this screen where you see your remaining oil life, and then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna press that button once, and it's gonna say, are you sure you want to reset? Go ahead and take this dial, turn it until yes is highlighted. Once yes is highlighted, you can go ahead and you can push the set/clear button on the end. And we are now at 100%. That's it, guys. It is easy as that. There you go, guys. So that's how you change the oil in your 2015 Buick Encore with a 1.4 liter turbo engine. Pretty simple process. Always make sure that you're getting the right filter for the right housing, and you won't have to worry about causing any engine damage. Always fill with 5W30 DexOS oil, and you're good to go. And that's it, guys. We have fresh oil, and we have the correct filter in our 2015 Buick Encore. The most important thing to remember is to match the filter to the housing. The Hangst and the UFI look similar, but they're not interchangeable. Just make sure you get the right one, and this little 1.4 liter turbo will keep running strong for years to come. So I hope that was helpful for you, and as always, I want to thank you for watching. Kevin's Way Works.
Uh-oh.